right, we're about to get started. Hit that like, everybody. Share the show. Patreon.com/HouseMarks. Let me see where you are. If you're in the chat room, everything. I think, yep, Instagram's up and running. Fantabulous. I think Substack is all right. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Awesome. Okay, I'm up. I'm here. I'm coming. Oh, wait. Really? The camera thing is happening again? Is this what we're doing? We're doing it this way? All right, hold on one second. I'll put up the chat for a second. Hi, guys. And I'll fix this. There's no reason why it should be wonky, but, do gremlins need a reason? I think is the question more than anything else. Let's go. So we switch over and we do this. We go back to here, and hopefully, just maybe. Hey, look at that, it works. Yeah, I don't know what that was. It just being a jerk. Just the camera just deciding, I like your face, Sparks. I don't like it. Good to see you. Yes, drunk ice busted in Florida. Although, can I just say that I'm beginning to think that Florida itself has sort of like a force field over it that makes everybody act drunk. It's just that kind of state. So, we could blame it on just about anything. That said, like, share the show, etc. Unless you're on Facebook, in which case I need you to make a scowly, frowny face emoji. Good morning, maggots. Welcome to, week. What is this? Week 37 of Trump shitting the bed, literally and figuratively. I think my favorite headline, and by the way, Tara Dublin will be joining us in the second hour, but for the first hour, it's just you and me. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. You and I. A friend calls it the everything bubble. Why do so many economists fear a 1929 style crash? Okay, two reasons. One, we have an absolute dipshit running the country, and they all know it. They might tap dance around it. They might go, "Ooh, phew, I got a tax break out of this. That isn't that good news." But everything else is making them panic because they know Trump does not understand what effectively is the coming economy. Both the nature of reshoring manufacturing that will drive up prices no matter what anybody does or says, unless you automate it entirely, which means you will reshore those factories without any of the jobs that go with them. And that's fine, but that's a thing. And it takes a true leader to come out and say, hey guys, we're moving these factories back from India and China and that stuff to the United States, but they're going to be giant vending machines. Nobody's really going to work there except maybe security. So just get used to the idea. We'll keep your goods cheap, but you're not going to get any jobs out of it. You're going to have to find something else to do. That takes chutzpah, huevos, as it were, to come out and tell the American people that. And Trump does not have either of those analogies. And also, the cost of the tariffs are obviously going to drive prices up. And Trump has doubled down on his China trade war thing again. Farmers are panicking. It's like we've died and gone to 2017. It's so stupid. I'm almost planning for a pandemic. I'm like, what do you think it'll be? We've already done respiratory illness. What do you think? It's going to be boils, skin sores, like something straight up biblical? But shit, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if it was fucking frogs. Just frogs and locusts. And don't worry about it. I have a staff that turns into a snake and back again. That doesn't sound at all like I meant it to sound. And yet it's like, as I was saying it, it came out dirty. And then there was no way to stop it mid analogy. So just, we're all just going to have to wear that the rest of the day. Yeah, Ebola, locusts, that's what's coming. Red water, sure. You're in panic mode? Yeah, don't, Jackie. We've been in worse times. I got to tell you, we really, really, really have. With less recourse. Yeah, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Right. Fungal diseases next. Well, they have the super fungus. I mean, can you think of a more, I guess, ironically poetic, if we could do both at the same time, and I think that we can, ironically poetic disease during a new Trump era than a super fungus? Because I almost think you could describe him and maggots in general kind of that way. Now, this is the part where they described us as a fungus, and that means we have to be wiped out, and he's speaking violent terms. Like, no, I just think you might need to spray yourself with Tinactin. I'm not going to do it, but you could do it to yourself. Perhaps it's like The Last of Us. You're like 80% fungus, and there's still a chance. I don't know. That said, the other reason, and this is, I got to be clear on this, the other reason why they think it's a 1929 crash around the corner is because, A, they know Trump does not understand this. And even the parts he might think he understands, he's really shitty at articulating it to everyone. But they also know they don't know. This is where we're entering the economic world of known unknowns. Yeah. So, no, I haven't got the package yet because my mail didn't come from the mailbox, but I'm working on it. I was supposed to pick it up last time I was in LA. It's a long story. Anyways, so this is let's see, where is it? Yeah, speaking to Market Watch earlier this month, veteran Wall Street analyst John Wolfenbacher, it doesn't sound like it was part of the final solution or anything, Wolfenbacher said that U.S. stocks, I'm kidding, he's probably fine. The U.S. stocks could be on the verge of the biggest bear market since, you guessed it, the Great Depression. He cited extremely bullish market sentiment, economic weakness, spiraling debt levels, limited policy tools, which are unlikely to be helped by the uncertain global economic backdrop. There's the big phrase. That's what I'm talking about. There it is. The uncertain global economic backdrop and the array of tariffs introduced by Trump amid a redrawing of post-war political allegiances between the U.S. and Western Europe. Uncertain global economic backdrop. These fuckers have no idea how anything works anymore. Just let's be real clear. With they are all vacillating between believing the biggest elements of the hype from AI and the absolute doom or protestations, the revelations level worries about AI. They're all like, these assholes spend their days on most of the economic forums, most of the economic papers, Market Watch, Bloomberg, even Fox Business. You could tell they're emotional windshield wipers right now. They're like, my sister, my daughter, my daughter, my sister, and my daughter. It's never been more clear. Okay, this also applies, ladies and gentlemen, to China. Let me see if I can bring up China. Let's see, Bloomberg. I don't want that. I want just regular Bloomberg into this. I don't want that. Why are you doing that? So Bloomberg had this little thing about China, uh, and sort of Trump's reaction, like his doubling down. This is his. Good God, it's gonna be so lame. Hold on, and now I have to sign in again. Come on, remember who I am. Pages of internet, China, China. All right, then there we go. Okay, verifying it's me. And there we go. Okay. So this is, God, this is so stupid. Okay. Trump lists top demands on China before his trade talks resume. China. Takeaways by Bloomberg AI. They're not even having somebody summarize their own article anymore. Trump listed rare earths, fentanyl, and soybeans as the U.S. top issues with China. No shit. Trump said the U.S. wanted China to stop with the fentanyl, and that's an actual quote. Stop with the fentanyl. Okay. We are. I know, and I apologize ahead of time. I'm sorry that I said that Trump would have a 4-hour consciousness window by the spring. That ship has sailed. He has a 4-hour consciousness window right now. Everything after that, he devolves into old man bark at trees. Like he is just screaming at the clouds. He is, at this point, in the meeting with Zelensky, everybody could tell it was nap time because it broke down into swearing. He dropped that F-bomb at the end of the lunch, or the end of the beginning of the lunch, and everybody knew, wrap it up, time for, Ambien and a nap. And yeah, you want enough with the fentanyl t-shirt? Yeah. And he starts acting like an old man. He really does. Like he's got dementia. Like the old, where they start getting combative. That kind of, by the way, shit they never said Biden did. Biden, interestingly enough, all they ever said about Biden was that he would be slow or that he forgetful or what are those kind of things. Now, think of how many times you're slow or forgetful during the day when you don't have a president's schedule, right? That's on top of that. And that age, but whatever. But at the same time, nobody was ever like, Biden starts just yelling at people. Biden is snapping. He's losing it. Biden's making snap decisions. Biden's, you know what I mean? Like he's suggesting we bomb someone all of a sudden. Like none of that ever came up, ever. Like I don't, if anybody has a news article where Biden was apparently like, started singing Bomb Bomb Iran, walking around the Oval Office, looking for a dog of his that died in 1975, you let me know. But so far, all I could say was that he was tired and slow, and a guy with a stutter. Also, I'm going to give the guy credit for thinking that sometimes if you're not yammering all the time, and it's weird to say while doing a show like this, when you're not yammering all the time, you're actually doing some thinking, some considering, right? Okay. And that's, by the way, how you get an infrastructure bill passed. That's how you get a Chips and Science Act passed. That's how you get the American Rescue Plan passed. That's how you get everybody vaccinated. That's how you get the economy back on its feet. That's how you get the best unemployment figures in 60 years. That's how you bring down a post-pandemic inflation from 9% to 3% in 3.5 years. By thinking and working and delegating with people who are equally smart that you know and trust. Okay. Trump is just screaming at people at this point. He's bullshitting both sides, trying to see what will shake loose first in the case of Ukraine and Russia, for example, and his trade war with China. It's all about who blinks. And he's under the impression that America is just kind of bulletproof powerful. And there's two reasons for that. One is the sort of illusion of permanent power that he kind of grew up with, I suppose. But the other reason is because he has never felt the effect of the downturns the way like working people do. Like he and his buddies made money on 2008. How you can yammer and think at the same time. This is true. It is true. I have a special case. But so let me show you another thing, chat room. And by the way, hi. Where are you guys? Let me know in the chat room where you reside in general. I don't need don't dox yourself. I just want to know where in the country, where in the world, because we are indeed mega worldwide. There you go. That the U.S. and China is going to have talks in Malaysia, and then Trump's going to have this, in 2 weeks or less, he's going to have a sit down with Putin in Budapest, I think it is, and like again, nothing's going to happen. Like they're just going to rattle his cage. And he's going to walk it back. There you go. Michigan, Pennsylvania, California, Florida. Look at you people. You wonderful people spread all over the place. And next up, I want to know if you made it to a No Kings rally this weekend. Let me know. Yeah, because I went to the one in Vegas. I hope you saw on my Instagram. I live streamed from there. It's a good time. Yep. My only regret is that I didn't have an inflatable suit of some sort, because as an analogy for inflation, pretty good. Now I want to, let's see, where is it? I want to find the enough. Yeah, he said, stop with the fentanyl. There it is. Okay, I found it. This is, Trump also wanted China to stop with the fentanyl. Will you, all right? Will you come on? Stop with the fentanyl already. Hey. A reference to his accusation that Beijing has failed to curb exports of the drug and its precursor chemicals, contributing to an American opioid crisis. There's also where was the other one? This was the weirdest part. When on Fox News Sunday, and we'll have to look at this one. CSL, he said the levy was not sustainable, though it could stand. Like the ratcheting up of the tariff war is not sustainable. Well, no shit. Like China makes a third of the consumer goods in the world, but if it's not sustainable, then it can't stand, you dumbass. Like, it's so fucking weak. All of this is so weak. And then, of course, the biggest part of this is really strange. And this is soybeans. And this is the fact that Trump is demanding China support our soybean industry by buying soybeans when maggots in general have used soy or soy boy or, as a pejorative for like beta males, that's not only is it a crop they would never consume, that kind of stuff, but that it will make you weak, that literally lowers your testosterone and that idea, right? So that we've heard this forever. And now Trump is having to come in to defend soy is just so perfect. It's so fucking on the nose. It's great. I gotta say, there are these little moments that are so choice. And this is one of them where where Trump has just become the soy defender. Feel free to make AI images of that all you want. But yeah, so, and then with that, so weird. So this is the number. Look at this. China last year, and I don't remember who was president last year, but you'll have to remind me. Last year, China bought some $12.6 billion worth of oilseed, the soybean. But this figure is, this year, the figure is zero. From 12.6 billion to nothing. Soy is woke, who would have thunk it? Well, yeah, it's because tofu. right? It's still sticking around from the 80s. This like the addition of tofu and yeah, which I mean by and large, it's meh. I mean, just eat some beans. But it's a way to it's soybeans. So it's like the original protein powder, in that you would cram all the protein from beans into a chunk of something that you could eat in cake form. I prefer silken tofu myself, but that's because I can hold it with chopsticks because I got mad skills. Okay, frustrations among U.S. Farmers, key to his support base, are, let's see, are eagerly awaiting aid from Washington. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The bootstrappers. There they are. Those those Americans that bleed red, white, and blue and believe in country and playing chicken on tractors like they're in the dumbest scene in Footloose. Right? These are the people who are awaiting aid from Washington, which, by the way, is held up because of the government shutdown, which is part of the pressure that is being put on Republicans to do something about this. Because not only are they responsible for people losing their health insurance if they don't make a deal with the Democrats, but they are also responsible for they do hold the purse string still. Remember how everybody's like, but Trump is taking over everything and he doesn't have any blood. Nope, they still have to draft this shit. They still have to write the invoice effectively. Yeah, all those small government conservatives sitting around in their maggot hats awaiting aid from Washington. Good stuff. Yeah. By the way, I do have a little drawing thing on there. Isn't that cool? All right. I added that. You're welcome. Yeah, make Argentina great again. Exactly. Okay. So in August, Trump urged China to quadruple its buying of soybeans from the U.S. And what's 4 times 0? What is 4 times 0? What is it? Let's see. 0. Carry the 2. 4 times 0 is dumb. Is 4 is fucking 0, dumbass. It's still 0. Still. It's 4 zeros. He thinks it's 4,000 pounds of this. Oh God. Yeah. Quadruple of nothing is still nothing. Okay. Last week, he threatened to stop imports of cooking oil from China, which is also like, well, then, so? Also, saturated fat cooking oils, like, isn't it better to get them from, like, olive oil from our friends in Italy? Right? Avocado and almond oil from our friends in Mexico, perhaps? Maple syrup from Canada? You can put that on pasta, can't you? Sure, why not? Which he accused China of intentionally causing difficulty for our soybean farmers. Sorry, in a free market, do they fucking owe us? Mr. Ayn Rand? Mr. Meritocracy? Mr. I can play hardball? Sorry, dipshit. Like, they don't. Like, you're selling a product. They need a product. If there's someplace else they can get it at a lower cost for any number of reasons, whether it's direct financially or because you're denying them technology, that's what they're going to do. And so you have an option. You can shift the American corn growers back, or like seed growers back away from soybean to other crops instead of just chasing the Chinese market, which was coming to a close anyways, and just selling, by and large, soybeans to China. Maybe pick another crop here that we consume or is processed and used largely in the States or in other... Okay. No. You know what? I take it back. Keep defending soy. I think that'll damage him as much in the midterms as the Epstein files at this point. So Hi, chat room. Yeah, maybe feed the U.S. Exactly. Well, and again, but a lot of times what this bailout means is that he takes the soybeans, buys them at market price, even though they can't get market for them, and then gives them to farmers. He buys the soybeans from these farmers and gives them to the cattle ranchers and stuff as feed, and it's too much. Like they don't we don't have the cattle for it. Like currently, okay. Cattle, livestock, herds. Okay. We're gonna check in on our friends over at Cattle Range. Hold on one second. I probably have to do with this one. Hey everybody, come on down to cattleherd.com. Okay, that's this right here. Why the U.S. cow herd is shrinking amid record beef prices. October 17th, 2025. That wasn't Ficus, by the way. That was, that was his brother Anal. Fact number one, the U.S. beef cow herd is the smallest it's been in 7 decades. Fact number two, both domestic beef demand and consumption have increased over the past decade. Fact number three, for the past 2.5 years, cattle have commanded the highest nominal price in history. Nominal meaning the price isn't adjusted for inflation. Fact number four, the past 5.5 years, consumers have been paying the highest nominal beef prices in history. These facts are inarguable. They've been measured and confirmed with trusted data from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. That means from when Biden was in office, not now, obviously. And Kansas State University, where everybody there spends little time down on the ranch. I'm kidding. All right. So so here's the thing. Remember how we talked about how egg prices were high because of avian flu? And it takes, what was it again? Shit. I'm going to go like 9 months. Is it 9 months for a chicken to get to egg laying? Hold on. I always ask this. Long till chick becomes a egg laying hen. It's like, I want to say 18, 4.5 to 5 months. It takes about 5 months. So in 5 months' time, let's say 6, you can go from eggs that were laid to hens that produce eggs. Okay? A cow that's old enough to produce milk or be slaughtered for meat is like minimum 2.5 years. And so if you're behind, if you've got a low herd right now, it's going to take you 2.5 years to get it back up to the numbers that you would need to bring the prices down. Or wait for it. You're going to have to fucking import it. You're going to have to import it from Brazil. You're going to have to import it from Europe. You're going to have to import it from Australia. These are the primary places where you're going to get large amounts of beef. I think Argentina has cattle as well. You're going to need to get it from there. But if you slap tariffs on it to help the American cattle industry, you're not. It's not helping. It's stabilized the market because everybody's living with the higher prices. Seriously. If Trump wanted to do something, I'm not kidding, they should import actual fucking cattle, not just raising them here. That's what they would have to do to get us back up to like cattle numbers where the beef prices will come down and the ancillary meat prices that go with them will come down. Where's the beef? It's in fucking Brazil. That's where it is, ladies and gentlemen. They should start buying cattle, not the meat, the cattle. Breeding stock cattle. Like, that's the only way to do it. You really expect Trump to know, care, understand? No, Scott, I'm actually just stating that there is a solution to this. That if you had a fucking brain, not you, I'm talking about him. If you had a fucking brain, you would arrive at pretty quickly. Right? You would go, there's really only one way to solve this. And then you would get about doing it. Right? They want the people to suffer. Honest to God, I don't think they... in this particular case, I think they're too fucking stupid. And I don't think they think there's a shortage because they don't live in they don't experience that shortage at all. Until an election comes around. When maggots have less money to give to their campaigns, that's when they'll notice. But until then, they won't give a shit. For real. That's where they are. Okay, so then the other thing too is clearly the peace in the middle, the everlasting peace in the Middle East thing is what's the word I'm looking for? Hoo-ha? Yeah, oversold, underdelivered. That, like, literally New York Times says, like, the latest ceasefire deal, fragility of ceasefire. Yeah, 10 days in, and here's the problem. Even if you're negotiating with Hamas, you're not dealing just with Hamas. You're dealing with the Islamic State in Palestine. And they have, they originally had to trade with them to get some of the hostages back from Islamic State because Hamas didn't have all of them. Islamic State joined in and took some for themselves. And like, if there's, I don't know what a moderate Hamas person would be, somebody who would like want to move towards a real governing body in Gaza, Islamic State will turn on them for that. And they both get their funding through the Muslim Brotherhood. So it just fucking goofy. I think the thing we were all struck by was like how Trump was like, I signed a peace, I made a boom boom in my diaper, and now there's peace in the Middle East. And we talked about this, like the F-bomb he dropped in this, let's see if, still have it from the Hill, but they bleep it out like a bunch of wieners. There is a genuine turn. Hold on one second. I'm just trying to find this. Yeah. We had talked about this a little bit. Sorry, Hamas said what? Scrolling by. My chat moves so fast. Gaza looks like Aleppo. Yeah, do you know there's like on the Egyptian border, there's something in the order of like 1,200 tunnels at any given time, and that they dig fresh tunnels and then they collapse regularly because it's not granite that they're drilling through, and so they either use slaves or young'uns to dig the tunnels, and those people, like, they lose, I want to say like 5 of them a week digging tunnels or reinforcing them. They just collapse on them and then they just dig around the body and pull it out and move on. And that's how they have, for years, smuggled food in and stuff into Gaza. And so, in boxes of Snickers, there'll be like ammunition packed in the inside of that or whatever. And to keep that going, they have these little, I'll see if I can find it for you. But the tunnels themselves, I had always thought of them every time I addressed them as like 3 big ones. Like, you think of them almost as built tunnels that, like, the walking size tunnels inside. But they're not. They're more like just small human-sized boring tunnels, and they drag a bunch of stuff. They take like garbage bins, and then they cut them and they like make canoes out of them. They turn them on their side, cap the end, and then they make canoes out of them. And then the guys drag them through the tunnels. Let's see if I can find the kind of some of the footage on this for you. Whoop, whoop. But it's pretty stunning. How here it is. Let's see. See if I can find this guy right here. Turn this off. And play stupid thing. All right, and pause in here. I'm gonna try and this guy. Where are we? This is pre. Yeah. Okay. This. Yeah. This can't. Here you go. This guy Ross Kemp went down into the tunnels. This is just from a month ago. But they show one of the kids. The people who dig them don't want to be seen doing it. So they're wearing masks to cover their faces, and you can see these little boat kind of things. Okay, that's what they fill with goods. And he's talking about at this point how there's cracks coming from the thing the whole time, and it just collapses. Even when he takes a step that way, a big chunk falls off the ceiling. And watch, right? It was before that. Hold on. Yeah, there you go. A piece of it falls off the wall. But when he goes up to the end of the tunnel, they're not done digging this one, but they get smaller and smaller as they get closer to the Egyptian border. And then the supports crack, and then like I said, I think they lose 5 guys a week in digging these tunnels and shoring them up. And there's a guy digging by hand. These guys are either Palestinians who aren't with Hamas, or there's some guys that are paid $25 a week to dig because they need the money. And then the other guys are basically captured prisoners, and they are forced to dig. And they work in teams together. The same thing, and by the way, what reminded me of this was the same thing happened in Aleppo. If you don't know, one of the things that the Islamic State in Syria did was that they would use captured slaves to dig tunnels that when they to circumvent the Assad I don't know if it was technically a blockade of certain areas. Yeah, I literally just read the word. Oh, that is weird. See if I can find. Let's see. This is Pakistan Taliban, and I spent a good deal of time. Okay, yeah. So this is a French documentary. They spent time in. They spent a week. Where is it? Yeah. With the Islamic State guys. And one of the things that they saw, the French documentary, is they took them into this tunnel, and the idea is that they were boring to get behind the Syrian, Assad's forces. All these guys are captured prisoners. When they're done digging, if they're not traded, they'll be beheaded. So they dig and work just to stay alive, whatever. So that's, and they ask these guys, these are 15 Syrian prisoners who are working this. They work 15-hour daily shifts. And at one point they ask them questions about what it's like and blah, 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 and they repeat kind of like the hostage line, yes, if I was freed, I would fight against Assad and all this kind of stuff. But that's what these guys do all day long. It's like 110 degrees in there as well. And these guys are slaves. Yeah, exactly. They're slaves. This is the idea that this is like forced labor that you guys know how I feel about that conversation. Um, so yeah, these guys, before we were with the regime that insults the prophet, now we're ready to blow everything up, to do suicide operations against them. Like, they're trying to buy themselves any time they can. You could tell by the look in their eyes, they're like, just done. And this guy, let's see if I can find it. This guy. Yeah, this guy right here is their main bomb maker. And this was during the Syrian uprising, that they would make these. He was kind of their guy who in charge of making IEDs. They make grenades. These are bombs that they make, and they light them and then fire them out of a cannon. Effectively, there are these tank missiles that they make. They take gas tanks like like kerosene tanks that are empty, and they attach a piece of tubing on the bottom of it, and then one of these kind of ends on it, and turn it into a missile, like that. And they fire these things. Yeah, they're just propane tanks, and they fill them with powder and a trigger. Why they're wearing these outfits, nobody knows. I think it's for show. But they stop and look how many they've made. Oh, by the way, this guy right here is being made to work in the shop. He's going to be beheaded. They make jokes about it. That when he's done working, they're gonna cut his head off. So he's being made to make weapons because he knows how, and then when they're done with him, they're gonna cut his head off. And this is it was amazing. They spent time. This is a 13-year-old kid. He's fighting alongside the men and everybody. This dude, on the last day that the French are with them, this guy blows himself up in a tower where Syrian snipers were. And they show him with his wife, and then he's scouting and all this kind of stuff. All of these guys are going to be beheaded. There's one guy they attempt to trade earlier, but you hear them threatening his dad, and he's got a week, and they're going to cut his head off. This is the court. This guy's going to get his head cut off. He was a pilot. He ejected when his plane was hit. He was caught. They're going to cut his head off. He is facing decapitation. Unless they want to trade for a pilot, which they probably won't. Yeah. So, and that's the guy they're going to trade. They're trying to talk to this guy is talking to this guy's father on the phone about trading him. And he's like, "Yeah, we've given you too much time. It's not in our hands anymore." And then he tells the guy he comes very close. It's down to him. We have Mujahideen brothers in prison there, and we want them back. And if we don't get them, you're dead. And then these guys go swimming and laughing together, and the homoerotic nature of jihadi life is so very bizarre, because no women are allowed around unless they're fighting. There's the guy. There he is right before he goes off. He doesn't seem too excited about it. He looks like Louis C.K. He doesn't seem very excited about the whole thing. That's his little trigger. So he'll run up there with his gun, and he'll have it's a dead man switch. So if he gets killed, his hand opens and he'll let go. Anyways, so they show big chunks of Aleppo in the beginning of this, which is why I was saying, large swaths of Aleppo. Sorry about that. They're having a wedding where they're singing nasty songs about Assad, which is very strange. It's how the whole area looks. And anyway, so the religious people can fuck right off, right? Well, there's religious, and then there's religious, and these people are religious. That's there's an element of, and I don't know how we confront this at some point. It's going to have to be addressed. But Orthodox religion is incompatible with democracy. It just is. Because they are, martyrs or warriors of God, or, Orthodox Jews first. Then they are part of the culture of democracy where we share ideas. I stand by my theory that the Groypers think they're going to get 72 fleshlights when they go to the other side. So there's, yeah, all of these things, in this area of the world, operate on a different mentality than we do, and it's a lot of I was watching a bunch of these documentaries this weekend. One about the legalization of domestic violence in Russia that is particularly brutal. The internal stuff in Gaza, where they are. It started with that. I got down a rabbit hole of watching this stuff, but there was a huge section of what Hamas is doing in Gaza right now, cleaning up, reasserting control over the area, because they're not going to disarm. It would be suicide. This is not supportive of them. This is just a tactical assessment. If they do it, they're dead. They'll be hunted down like Nazis were after World War II. They don't have that many places they can go anyways, because oddly enough, even if they're considered, the front line of the fighters for Palestinian statehood, they can't go to Iran, they can't go to Qatar, they can't go to Yemen, half because they're just not welcome because they're Palestinians, or they're thought of as Palestinian Arabs by these other countries, but also because they, quite frankly, it's a religious fight. They're not of the right sect. There's that much bifurcation between the sects where they're not welcome. And there'll be these periods like in Syria where they'll fight alongside each other, but as soon as it settles, the jockeying for power means everybody in the other group has to get wiped out. 72 fleshlights for 7,000 insults. The boys they'll have to share. That's right. Yeah, I didn't say they get them each. That's a good point. Yes, this is tribalism. And it is, it's become like a playground for like incel European psychopaths, people who just want to kill, and then radicalized, people, from Europe who've gone down there and join in on this stuff, including that dude with the red beard that I was showing you. There's a bunch of these. Oh, hello, Ireland. My son is doing a project on Ireland. It's his. You have to do this theme on pick a country, and he's doing it on Ireland. So we're gonna have to go take a trip there, I think. So the point I'm trying to make is the idea that the people who give you, hold on, let's see this guy right here. This guy, yeah, what was he? This, yeah. The folks that gave you this are the same folks, and I got to cut this off before it continues because they show dead bodies, are the same people operating are in control of Gaza right now, internally. They're not they're not the 90%, I would argue, of Palestinians who just want a Palestinian state and want to live in peace, and they're talking about like the 10% Hamas and its supporters who are videotaping their murders of these people in the streets. Those folks are aligned with a bunch of groups like that throughout this area, and until the one thing I keep coming back to every time I watch one of these things, I watch the same thing is going on in Haiti right now. Haiti, first of all, there's AK-47s all over these places, and that should tell you something. They're not Chinese copies of, M16s or M4s. They're Russian rifles made in Russian factories. And the thing that I keep coming back to is, where's the fucking ammo coming from? If they're having to hand make bombs, if you watch all the shooting that goes on in these places, it is non-fucking stop. And if you've ever been to a gun range and Hamas's Palestinian MAGA, yeah, I would argue that it's a close, and you would, on a moral and ethical level, they seem to believe similar things about women's rights and gays. What do you know about the Palestinian people? You talk about them. What am I missing? You're right. Do you not think that most of them want to live in peace? That's a matter of your opinion. It seems like when people are allowed to speak freely, that's what they want. They're allowed to speak up against Hamas. They do. But when Hamas has control of the area, everybody's like, yeah, whatever he says. Here's what I think about Palestinians. I think there are no magic families on earth. There are no magic people. Everybody's magic. Everybody should be able to live to the fullest extent of their ability and desire. So if you ever go to a gun range, you ever open fire to go play, with go fire guns or something like that. Get a an AR-15. You will, even though you're firing one bullet at a time, not a machine gun. You're firing one bullet at a time. You're out before you know it. One of the things that people find, anybody back me up on this, you go to a gun range and you're shooting and you fire with the gun, you'll be out quickly. And then you have to reload another magazine, or you may have preloaded 2 or 3 of them, but it's over before you know it. And you're empty. And you either have to go get some more, or you just go home. Most people just go home. It's too loud and whatever, and they're done, and they just leave. But if you're using an AR-15 with 2 magazines on it, you're practicing or some nonsense, in 6 minutes, you could go through all your ammunition. And that's, again, not an automatic weapon. So my question is if you can't stop the guns coming through, you damn sure can stop the bullets. Maybe you can't stop them from making rockets from fucking sugar and water pipes and all that kind of stuff that they do. But, right? Yeah, 300 rounds, 15 minutes, you're done. And then where do you go to get more? If you're at a range, you go to the lobby. You go to the desk and you go, I'd like more ammunition, please. But if you're in the middle of a fucking embargoed area, where the fuck are the bullets coming from? So here's what I would suggest. Tracers on all bullets. All ammunition made, let's say, in the United States has tracers in it. So you know where it was made, some way to key on, okay, that bullet was made in this factory, sold to this person, and that's how it ended up over there. And if there aren't any in it, we know it's coming from a black market supplier. Probably Russia, but that's, neither here nor there. The point is, find ways to stop the bullets from coming in. And it changes the front on all these situations. So, and again, this goes to my theory that if you're worried about how much food is getting into Gaza, for example, where are we? Hold on. Where is this? Hold on. This is so funny. One of my things. Hold on. I've got to squeeze this down because I can't see. Where are you? There we go. There you go. Tara Dublin's waiting in the wings. My theory has been, for a while, that we need to... Why is this being so weird today? Safari has been very weird since the update. I'm just saying. It's being a big old jerk. Yeah, it has. It's true. And I go to here. So my theory about food in Gaza, for example, was if the argument is we've got to stop the food because Hamas is taking the food and leveraging it and controlling the food and making themselves money and therefore paying for their ammunition or whatever they have with the money from selling the food, which, by the way, where's the money coming from? But whatever. That the way you fix that is not by limiting aid, but overdoing it. Overwhelm them with food so that they just, there is no way they could store it all. That's how you do it. You drop so many non-perishable foods that they literally couldn't steal all of it if they wanted to. That was my response to this, and it's totally doable for a population that size with the UN and us and the other Arab leaders in the area. Wouldn't be hard at all, and we could bottleneck it through us if we want to check it for ammunition and all that kind of stuff if that's the worry. But you could absolutely do it. You overwhelm them with the food so that even if like Hamas is like, you can't have this food unless like you're standing next to your own pile. You're going, I have my own giant pile, and it's going bad. We have to have dinner. Do you mind? The other thing is, is true of ammunition, blockade ammunition. Like the Interpol, the United States, the UN. If UNRWA wants to actually do anything, it's keep the bullets out of the area, because that's what keys stuff off. That's the start. So make them fat and lazy like Americans. Well, I don't know if you noticed this, but according to Dr. Oz, Americans are getting skinny just because Trump is getting here. And it's not because food is more expensive. It's because they're working out and they're feeling good. And they're all watching Rocky IV. All right. Joining us now from hashtag Rip Portland is our dear friend and ally, the wonderful Tara Dublin, who was at the who does indeed rock and was at the No Kings rally and spoke at it. And how was that? It was fantastic. Give us the recap. And how are you?
I'm great. I don't see you though.
Oh, sorry. Here you go. There you go.
Thank you. It's hard to have a conversation with someone when you can't see their handsome face.
Well, that's why
Hi,
phones are
Hal.
dying. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah.
Hi, friends. Hi, sparklers. Hi, kids. How's everyone doing?
They're doing
I have
good.
almost. I'm trying to get my voice back because we did a lot of voice things on Saturday. So yes, I participated in Saturday's No Kings rally, and there's going to be more. There's the next one's on November 22nd. I don't know if anybody knows that. And if you follow Outspoken on any socials, this is from her shop, and this is the No King shirt that I have been wearing on. It's been washed so many times. I've worn this on every appearance possible over the last week or so, and then wore it Saturday with a sparkly jacket because I decided I would be the disco ball in the middle of the great big Halloween party we were having in Portland on Saturday that just happened to coincide with the No Kings Day. So, and as you know, Hal, Portland is Halloween adjacent, pretty much 365.
Yeah.
Right. So very pirate friendly. A lot of pirates walking around just on the daily. People walking around dressed like pirates. Lots of skeleton themed things here in Portland. There's a strip club called Devil's Point. We embrace all of that, right? So Saturday, we were expecting historic turnout beforehand, right? And very excited about it. And we didn't want to overestimate or whatever, but we knew we were going to be bigger than the one on June 14th. And we were. Yeah. Early estimates from Portland were they underestimated, but I've seen the drone footage that my friend Edwin Nunes took. And if you aren't on Instagram, he's Dat Guy Eddie, DATGUI Eddie EDDY. He's great. Amazing. And then my friend Michael Schneider, who's Blacksmith Designs, also did it. He's the guy who does the balloon messagings on the walls. So did the two of them together, took amazing drone footage. And I'm going to go ahead and say there were over 60,000 of us in the streets. Because there were Portland had multiple events happening on Saturday. There was one in Pioneer Courthouse Square, and the Reverend Chuck Curry was leading that one. And then he led that faction to join us at the rally. And then there was other stuff happening on the east side that Indivisible was doing. And then they marched over the bridge to join us. So by the time we started moving, it was a sea of humanity on the waterfront, which was glorious. And so we had a stage set up, and from the stage at the Battleship Memorial all the way down past the Morrison Bridge were people packed in. And we had our sound guys were on point and our volunteers worked so hard. And that's something that, everyone who participated in a No Kings rally
Yeah.
this Saturday, the volunteers who are working, there were like 7 or 8 signal chats going
Mm-hmm.
on at the same time that I was, watching this happen. And so, but safety was the number one thing. Keeping it
Right.
peaceful was, number one, but also making sure that we were just heard, because we knew it was going
Yes.
to be big. And so they set up speakers on stands every 100 yards between where the stage was, all the way back to the Hawthorne Bridge. And that was a huge undertaking. And then all of that was packed with people. And then behind us, all the way to the Burnside Bridge was packed and it was just unreal to see all of those people. So
Mm-hmm.
we had an amazing turnout. We had local counselors speak. Angelita Morello was one of them, and she's the one who was interviewed. I think it was News Nation, where she called Kristi Noem a puppy killer, and kind of like took the interviewer aback when that was said.
Uh-huh.
And so one of the most amazing, there's lots of amazing visuals from Portland, and you could pull up my Instagram, my Blue Sky. There wasn't as many on Blue Sky because Blue Sky is just like not as user friendly, but I put a ton of stuff on Instagram and also on Twitter and my Facebook. And I'm going to write a great big Substack. Yesterday was like recovery day. It was amazing. And our friends at the Dangerous Ones, which is the 11 Films, and Nick Knutson from Demcast, made one video that I saw where they were on the Morrison Bridge and they deployed some balloons that they wrote messages on. And in the background, you can hear someone talking. And I was like, what's happening? I was like, wait, that's me. That's me leading the chant right before we marched. And you can clearly hear me chanting, show
Nice.
Trump what democracy looks like. Show Trump what Portland looks like. And the response from tens of thousands of people. And it was just like, psh. And then the other thing that happened was, like, I was supposed to like kind of help lead the march, and there was some discussion about that. But then my friends showed up that I didn't know who were coming, and they came to like kind of, support me, and some low bar people were there performing also.
Right.
So like there was group sing along. We sang "This Land Is Your Land" as we were moving into the streets, and "All you fascists bound to lose." We were singing that too, and that was, everyone was like joyously celebrating. And of course, there were the frogs and all of the inflatables and about the millions of pictures and videos that I took that day. I don't think anything's going to top the video I took of the inflatable frogs dancing to Peace Train. That happened. That definitely happened.
Right.
There was also, I filmed before the rally itself started, there was a guy in an inflatable dinosaur costume. And in the background, like we were playing music in the background, and it was Childish Gambino's "This Is America." So he's like bouncing around like, "This is America, boom, boom, don't catch you sleeping, no." And I filmed that, and he's like, and that one got like a lot of shares on the Twitter because MAGA cannot cope with what happened on Saturday. It's delicious. Please feed all of that cope to me. I could survive. If it was food, we wouldn't have to worry about SNAP benefits. Put a pin in that. We'll come back to that. So the joy that we embraced on Saturday, and that's one of the things that we talked about repeatedly, was they don't get to take one sliver of our joy. They don't get to take away any of our patriotism, our love for our country, our love for our cities, our love for our neighbors. None of it. They get none of it. And that was the focal point of No Kings, and why you saw people dressed in costumes. I mean, we are close to Halloween anyway. So people were embracing all of that and the creativity in the costumes. I mean, Portland really set the standard for how people should show up for No Kings.
Absolutely.
Time.
And for
it's embarrassing
for a hollowed out
for them,
crater, I got to give them credit. Yeah. So
hey, you know what? The embarrassing footage for Trump is glory. It's glory.
Well, and his response was his little AI video that of him airdropping shit on everybody.
We're going to talk about.
But here's what I want to point out, like in the midst of all this. Like I have said for a while that this illusion that he tweets at all hours and is awake and never sleeps or whatever is a manufactured illusion, carefully built on by Dan Scavino and everybody in the media office there, so that he puts out truth sinkhole posts in the middle of the night a couple of times. They're like, oh my
Right.
God, he's up at 2 a.m. and then 5 a.m. and he's talking to world leaders or whatever. Like, no, he isn't. He's posting something that he would have said earlier in the day at 2 o'clock in the morning because A, they're overseas and that's when they want them to see it in theory. And so his
Right.
team does that while he's unconscious. And that is an increasingly long period of,
You can
of the day.
schedule posts if you
Well, you
have
don't
like
have to when you got a whole
TweetDeck or
team. We can,
yeah,
but you don't
I
have
mean,
to. They stay up and
you
do
don't
it.
have no, if you
Yeah,
have a if you have a team of 18-year-old dipshits when
right.
they or a 40-year-old dipshit from a Telegram chat who
Mm-hmm.
loves Hitler,
Yep.
they don't need to sleep. They have drugs and they have,
Right.
Mountain
So,
Dew or what
so
I don't
the
know, those energy drinks. So yeah.
Jolt. Remember Jolt? Oh yes,
Jolt. I
Jolt.
do
The
remember
the
Jolt. I
program.
do. I know.
Yeah, which but arguably has less caffeine in it than most regular energy drinks. I think it was. I think it was
Right.
actually. I want to say it was 200 milligrams at the time, which was like unheard of, and now it's 3. Is
It's
the
just, I
top end?
mean, I
It's
don't
a
know
lot.
how people's hearts just don't explode
Well,
after
they
a
do
while, but
sometimes. That's the
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
sometimes they do. But I mean, it was just and it wasn't just in America. And the early estimates were 7 million. Now they're saying 8.2 million. It might even be higher than that
Yeah.
just in America. And what was really encouraging also is the turnout that we saw in red states. Because
Right.
if it was just blue states, they could take the stance that, oh, liberals and I'm sorry. I saw a turnout in Boise and Arkansas and Florida and Texas, and we saw red state turnouts in small
Mm-hmm.
towns in red states that Trump won overwhelmingly, had
Yeah.
hundreds of people turning out for No Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Around the world, people
Yeah.
turned out in the millions and millions. So who knows globally when you add what we put out, add it to the protests around the world, everybody took time out of their Saturday to
Mm-hmm.
protest Donald Trump. And I mean, the memes are amazing when you juxtapose the crowds of No Kings to his ego military birthday party where it was like 12 people showed up.
Yeah.
Um, Again, let us also
Yeah, he's still
reinforce that
womp
literally
womping
no,
from that. He's still like
of course,
he's still butthurt
all
over these
about
things.
that,
Now I want to play a couple of
of course.
things if I can.
Mhm.
This is because one of the things we should take great joy in is that not only were the No Kings rallies a great success and Trump had his fifis hurt by them, even if he doesn't say so, because like again, he can be embarrassed but not shamed. And embarrassment comes in his case
Right,
from not being 100% popular. When there's an
correct,
obvious response that proves that he does not have, the greatest level of popularity in the history of ever, but he can blow past the polls as
right.
being fake. But when giant crowds are in the streets because he sucks, it
Mhm.
hits him right in the ego, which is the only place he can
Oh,
apparently
yeah,
feel pain. So, but
that's correct.
in the meantime, he was asked about the Argentina bailout on Air Force One, and let's see if I can play this up for you. This is our lovely
I
friend.
saw that. I mean, he looked like he was about to fall over, first
Yes,
of all,
he looks
right?
like shit.
He looks so weak. He
Sounds like
looks like
shit.
shit, sounds like shit,
Yeah.
feels like
Question is,
shit.
what do you have to
So
say
So he
to
here.
wants
U.S.
everyone else to
farmers
be
who
as
feel that
miserable.
the deal is benefiting Argentina more than it is them, as
Look,
they are a top
Argentina's fighting for its life, young lady. You don't know anything about it. They're fighting for their life. Nothing's benefiting Argentina. They're fighting for their life. You understand what that means? They have no money. They have no anything. They're fighting so hard to survive. If I can help them survive in a free world, I happen to like the president of Argentina. I think he's trying to do the best he can. But don't make it sound like they're doing great. They are dying. All right?
Okay.
And what about us, you motherfucker?
Well,
I'm
no,
sorry, you child fucker.
Yeah, hold on. Real quick. Argentinian.
Condescension.
Yeah.
Condescension.
Uh,
The
buying.
bullying of the person asking the question should have never been tolerated going back 10 years. When he bullies any member of the media, someone else should immediately step up and go, you shouldn't be speaking to her like that.
Yeah.
He needs to be fucking called out for this shit. I'm tired of it. I am
Well,
really tired of that.
this is from.
Beyond.
Let me open this up. This is from the Buenos Aires Herald, which sounds like a great paper. Let me tell you this. Let's see if I can shrink this down. There it is.
Buenos Aires. Let's just sing all the Evita songs while we're doing the Don't Cry for
Shopping
Me,
tours to Chile
Argentina.
double amid complaints of Argentine businesses. Because of the appreciation of the Argentine peso, cell phones, home appliances, and clothing can be up to 70% cheaper across the border. So everybody's loading up their cars and driving. I did a whole video about this, and it's genius, and people should watch it. But the Argentinians, their dollar is the peso is so propped up, and they have a like sub economy of U.S. dollars to buy and sell as many of them as they want. They can go across the border, buy like Chilean pesos, lots of them, and then trade them. It's ridiculous. Like the rich people are going on these massive buying sprees in Argentina. And so the idea that they're dying, they're fighting for their life is such garbage. Then meantime, let's see if we can do this one as well.
Before you hit Sam's Club,
I don't want an ad, you silly person.
I was in Sam's Club yesterday pulling stuff back out of my cart because
there you go, skip.
The knife was too good.
It's too
That's the only explanation I have for what happened next. They thought I was a psycho.
Australia pays among the lowest tariffs.
They asked about this Australia.
There's been concern in Australia that it's taken 9 months to get this meeting. Have you had any concerns with this administration with its stance on Palestine, climate change, or even things the ambassador said about you in the past, the Australian ambassador?
I don't know anything about him. I mean, if he said bad, then maybe he'll like to apologize. I really don't know. Did an ambassador say something bad about him? Don't tell me. I don't. Where is he? Is he still working for you? You said bad?
Before I took this position, Mr. President.
I don't like you either. I don't, and I probably never will. Go ahead.
Notice how everybody's laughing and Trump isn't.
It's not fucking funny. Nothing about this is funny.
Even still, well, no, like they think he's joking around, and half of it is Australian press. You know, so it's got Sky News, which is basically Fox. You know, on
it's
on wallaby steroids. They're like those muscly roos. Yeah. So those guys think he's, hilarious and will insist on thinking he's hilarious. And then he's pared down the press that's in the room so much that it's basically like friends of Brian Glenn. That's it. And Chanel Rayon. And people from Lindell TV.
Jesus fucking Christ. I just want to point out the hypocrisy of all of this. We are in a government shutdown right now. He should not be helping any other country get through anything. He should be helping America and reopen the government. But he's not doing that because reopening the government means opening the Epstein files.
That's right.
And this is the bullshit fucking hypocrisy that makes me so angry. And I know it bothers you as well. Nothing should be happening, right? All of this shit that we're hearing about. They're building a ballroom. They're doing this. He's going to do this. There's AI, everything. There's bullying of Harry, just all of it. We're in a government shutdown right now.
Right.
Anything that they do should be focused on reopening the government. We were out in the streets on Saturday for multiple reasons, but a huge part of it is because Trump is in the Epstein files. The government is only shut down because of that. They're not swearing in Adelita Grijalva because Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the point that continues to need to be hammered. And his distractions by, Argentina needs us. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Your constituents need you. And so my project for this week, because I don't know how many people are aware of this, because if you're a person who is lucky enough to make enough money and you don't need any government programs to help you exist, congratulations. But if you are an American citizen who relies on SNAP benefits to feed you and your family, you can kiss those goodbye November 1st. Because if the government doesn't reopen by then, they are pausing all SNAP benefits. You can't sign up for new ones. If you're already signed up, your card will not get refilled on the day it normally does. It won't happen. Your balance will be zero unless they reopen the government, which they clearly have no interest in doing, which is really frustrating, isn't it? So my call to action now, following up what we saw on Saturday, because we saw that was a demand to take action against this regime. Article 2, Section 4 is a good thing, but also You should not care about the Epstein files more than feeding your constituents. And if you do, you shouldn't have that job that your constituents elected you to do. So my call to action for everyone is to call Republicans in your state. If you don't have Republican representation in your state, call the ones in the red state neighboring yours and simply ask them to reopen the government so that their own constituents who rely on SNAP benefits won't starve. And you can phrase it in your own way. When I called the only Republican representative here, who is Cliff Bentz, and I called his office this morning in Washington. And I have to say, I don't often compliment people who work for Republicans, but the woman who answers his phone was really nice. And she was very compassionate, actually, when I was talking to her. Right. And that's my approach right now. Instead of yelling or shaming or whatever, because people will tune that out, it's a very human approach, which is people in Oregon 2nd District, just like people everywhere else in this country, are relying on SNAP benefits to feed their families. Representative Cliff Bentz is aligning with Trump rather than the constituents who elected him, and he needs to be aware that these people are going to starve, and these people do not care anymore about the Epstein files. They don't care. They care about feeding their families, and we need to make him care about that as well. And so I'm asking you to pass this message along. And if you try to appeal to them on behalf of their constituents, I don't know if that'll work, but that's my approach this week, is to approach them and say, these people elected you because they believed you would take care of them. And you're not doing that.
Well, so. Yeah, I gotta say, though, I don't expect them to preemptively work on any of this stuff. What I expect is that the Republicans are not going to start wincing until we get close to that borderline. And until we get to that line.
Hold on. I forgot to plug in my laptop and my battery is running low. You keep going. I'm going under the desk for 1 second.
I've been there. I understand it. Look out. It's getting really OnlyFans in here. So there is no way they are going to do anything about this preemptively. They're not going to recognize, oh dear, we've done something terrible. Hi.
No, they know what they're doing. It's not that they don't know what they're doing.
No, but what I'm saying is that there is the real issue here is that until red states get close to that line, it's a game of chicken right now, and that Democrats are, I think, aware as much as anybody else that Republicans don't. This goes to the shame and embarrassment thing. They don't really have any empathy for the poor in their states. They wish they would fucking move. They wish they would just leave. They would all rather turn their states into a gated community than deal with the constituents that they have. And if they can drive them out by having a state next door have better SNAP benefits or something along those lines, or better support, that's why they talk up California all the time, to try and get the poor people to get on a bus or a train and get the hell out of there. They're not going to do anything until that money runs out and those people are knocking on their door.
Well, we've said this before, is that the MAGA cult will continue to let Trump's lies comfort them until they no longer comfort them, until they actually hurt them. That's when they will start turning their backs. And, it's to me, it's unconscionable the way the Republicans have just a full-on disdain for their own constituents, and their own constituents don't recognize that because they're too busy trying to own the libs. And I think Saturday was a real clarion call for a lot of people, because for people who don't pay attention to politics as much as we do and who aren't on social media, because a lot of Americans aren't, seeing the kind of turnout that we saw across the country, I think was a big wake-up call for a lot of people, especially like 250,000 people in Manhattan, 200,000 people marching to the White House.
Right.
Those are numbers that you can't ignore. I would also say that if you're in Washington, D.C., there should be an Occupy White House going on right now, if they could pull that off, because there should that level of rage should be surrounding the White House at all times at this point now. Because if you're going to turn the tide, you have to make sure it keeps turning. So it's about that momentum, and showing the truth. And I would love to believe that enough people saw America basically screaming for everyone to pay attention to what's actually happening and make bigger demands of the people who are in power. And that's true of Democrats as well as Republicans.
Yeah.
I'm continuing, like, at this point, once again, Republicans are refusing to reopen the government, and they are claiming it's because of healthcare. Now, last Monday, after you and I spoke last Monday, I went to a press conference here in Portland with our Oregon Democratic delegation, and it was local representatives Salinas, Bonamici, and Senator Wyden and Senator Merkley, and it was eye-opening to listen to them and talk, but it was also an opportunity for me to ask a question about what's happening with the shutdown that the MSM doesn't ask, because they don't ever ask real questions anymore. Right. And I said, and I had the last question of the day too, so that was really good. But what I said was, and I've shared this on my socials as well, and it's on my YouTube, which I hope everyone signs up for. I asked, what are you going to do? What can we do? Because we know Republicans don't care about our health care, and they're using that as the excuse and to try to blame Democrats for keeping the shutdown going when it's Republicans who are keeping the shutdown going. Right. So basically what they've done, they're trying to back Democrats into this corner of sell out your constituents on healthcare, or we're going to keep blaming you for the shutdown. And Democrats are like, screw you. That's not what's happening. Right. And so I got them to say on the record, yes, that's 100% what Republicans are doing. They're using this healthcare issue as a leverage point, and they're using that as the excuse. But we all know they don't care. So if you are a Republican right now, if you're a MAGA person right now, if you're a MAGA person who's in the chat right now, I would really start asking those questions like, well, you promised us this, you haven't delivered on this, you've said this, but you're not. What you're doing is actually hurting me personally. That's where we are. And if there are more people on government food assistance in red states than blue states, right. And therefore those people will be hurt more by these SNAP cuts than people in blue states. Right. And that's just true. I mean, there are people in blue states who are on SNAP. I'm not denying that, but but they don't care about those people.
Yeah. They don't care about those people.
But the people who are MAGA in red states who are on SNAP benefits do care. They care very much.
Not about the people in blue states that are on SNAP.
No, they care about them. No. The MAGA people who are on SNAP benefits themselves care about themselves. They care about themselves, their family, their food prices, their budget, whatever they have been allotted per month. Because your SNAP benefits are based on how many people are in your household, what is your current income, Like there are lots of things, you just don't fight. Everybody doesn't get the same amount. It's not a blanket. Everybody gets this, and it's based on a lot of different things. And people saw their SNAP benefits being cut, and now frozen is the next step. They will be frozen unless the government reopens. And once the government reopens, then they will be unfrozen, and then you can continue. That's something that MAGA doesn't know. That's something that it hasn't been told to them or explained to them yet. But they will find out. Because they expect their card to be refilled on a specific day every month, and they budget to make it to, to make it to that day so that it gets refilled again.
Yes.
And they're not going to see that again. And so that is when I believe you're going to start. That is when the tide will turn on the right.
I agree. That's what I was saying before. Like that, the MAGA and representatives will not care until their constituencies start to howl. And their constituency will not.
That's going to happen now.
It depends on the depth of their maggot conviction, whether they will do it as soon as it happens, or they'll go, y'all got to suffer because Trump's trying to save America, right? That'll give them a week of that, or 2 weeks.
That doesn't work anymore. Not when they're tweeting pictures of themselves wearing fucking crowns, and he's sharing that AI like he's your grandfather, sending you Facebook memes that have been forwarded 1,000 times on an email.
Right.
This is where somebody needs to stand up and demand better of our leadership, because you've got Caroline Leavitt in the briefing room basically being like, hey, your mom, if anybody asks her a question that has to require a truthful answer. You've got these juvenile dipshits tweeting this AI. Now, Gavin Newsom's team I don't know if you saw, but they did their own version. I think Harry Sisson should make his own version where he's dropping copies of the Epstein files on top of the White House.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they're going to go that low, we'll meet them there, but we'll be clever about it. So Gavin Newsom did that. I'd like to see a little bit more. That is where, but somebody somewhere, we have to start demanding better, because the stupidity, this idiocracy, the idiocracy of it all is humiliating.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to be. It's embarrassing, but it's it's not humiliating because I didn't vote for the guy. But I will say this: there was Trump in his back and forth with the leader of Colombia, for example, this week, where the president of Colombia said that the U.S. basically assassinated a Colombian citizen who was not a drug dealer, was killed in one of those boats. And Trump responded, you know how we're tracking basically, his tapioca brain?
Right.
He called Colombia's Petro an illegal drug leader and announces an end to U.S. aid to the country. Now, if you take the letter L and the letter D, and you reverse them, you have the word dealer. It leaves your brain as the word dealer, and it exits your mouth as the word dealer.
Verbal dyslexia.
Right. Yeah. He called him an illegal drug leader
instead of dealer.
His brain wouldn't let dealer come out.
Oh my God.
And nobody, I don't know that anybody else has pointed that out, so I would like points for that. Because seriously, nobody, I've been pointing out his really fucking important. Brain farts, even like the fucking saltwater one, we did this one because of
salt water in their veins. You have that salt water. Don't let the doctors change it. Keep it.
What?
Because there's nothing like it. There's no blood like it.
That was him talking to the Navy on the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Navy.
Because their boat is on the salt water.
Yes, because they have, and they want to do it because they got salt water in their veins, sir. Like somebody said that analogously to him, and he said, they have salt water in their veins?
There'll be a QAnon conspiracy about if you inject yourself with salt water, it'll replace the blood.
That's right. Yes.
that had all of the adrenochrome in it. I mean,
the fleet,
whatever.
Fucking
shit.
That's by the way, it's called adrenochrome. And pardon me while I do a quick ad. If I can't hold on, I'm gonna have to.
You have to get the TM.
Yeah.
To get the trademark.
Hey, everybody, don't forget, today's brought to you by Safeguard. Apple-flavored horse paste with a giant syringe that you can use over and over again. You don't even have to wash it, according to Joe Rogan. It's got fenbendazole, which cures everything, mostly parasites, because it's a parasite medication. And if it works on you and makes you feel better, that means you had worms. That's right. Joe Rogan had worms. That's right. This hour brought to you by fenbendazole, also known as Safeguard, in apple horse flavor paste. Equine dewormer. It's good for what ails you. Right, there you go. Thank you. You know what? I said I would never do paid. I said I would never do paid ads, but times are tough. So I've just
cha-ching. You got to make
exactly.
You gotta make that bank.
It was that, or saying gold is real money.
Right. Speaking of which, may I remind everybody that despite the fact that I'm currently not employed, I was not paid to protest on Saturday, and neither were the other 8.2 million Americans.
Yeah. I went down there because I wanted to.
Back
Weird.
pay from Soros. The Borowitz report sent out an email today. Andy Borowitz is so fucking hilarious. And it's like George Soros declares bankruptcy after paying No Kings people. And it's like, think about this. And I tweeted last night, it's like, does MAGA think that there's like a secret group of accountants just churning out 1099s to us for the last 10 years? Do you think there's people like that's their only job because there's so many of us? They have to 1099 all of us. We are not being paid to be loyal to the United States. But there's plenty of people who are being paid to commit treason against the United States. Why don't nobody talk about those people? And those people are being sent to Portland. There are people I want to name and shame because they came to Portland specifically sent by the Trump regime. Like when you saw Kristi Noem on top of our ICE facility with Benny Johnson, Benny Johnson and Nick Sorter and these fucking people who came to Portland to try to beef with us. We did have a couple of MAGA agitators who showed up during Arno King's march. I personally didn't encounter any. I don't know if you did at yours.
Nope.
I saw a video where someone tried to beef and people were like, oh, get the fuck out of here. And then the MAGA people are trying to frame it like, oh, Antifa marchers, they were bullying, and they're not welcoming us. Why were you there? You weren't there for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And that was a big part of my role in every time I spoke on the microphone on Saturday to over 55,000 people. I was like, we're here for safety. We're here to be peaceful. And if there's anybody here who's not here for the right reasons, I didn't even say MAGA. I said, if you encounter someone who's not here for the right reasons, please do not engage. Please do not do this. Please make sure you find a safety officer. They have been trained for that. They come here to manufacture this shit so that Trump has reasons to keep perpetuating this shit. But we know this shit is all because of the Epstein files. So he can try to distract with all of the other things.
Yeah.
The Argentina is a distraction. Letitia James is a distraction.
Well, can I?
John
all
Bolton
right, real
and
quick.
James Comey.
I want to point out a couple of things that are that I think are
whatever that was. Bring it back up.
Substantial to the conversation of real world shit that's going on in this. Okay, so Trump was talking about he called Petro an illegal drug leader because he can't say dealer because his brain is tapioca, who is low rated and very unpopular. Which I think they mean different things.
Is a confession.
Right, yeah.
We should
the Republican president warned that Petro
you should just record me saying that.
Yeah, better close up drug operations or the United States will close them up for him and it won't be done nicely. There's your peace president, maggots. We basically declared war on Venezuela. Okay. This is the part that stuck out to me and see if you can figure out why. Okay. So he thinks Petro is responsible for a substantial amount of narcotics coming into the country. Pete Hegseth announced the latest U.S. strike on a vessel that was allegedly carrying substantial amounts of narcotics. Allegedly. All right. Mm-hmm. He said the vessel was associated with a Colombian rebel group, the National Liberation Army, or the ELN, that has been in conflict with Petro's government. He did not provide any evidence for his assertion, but he shared a brief video of the boat blowing up. So real quick, if Petro is the guy responsible... Hold on. If Petro is the guy responsible for getting the drugs into the country, and there's a rebel group that's fighting against him, why the fuck are you blowing their boats out of the water? You don't have to help them, but why would you target them? If he is responsible for 2/3 of the cocaine traffic on Earth personally, and this rebel group is, the National Liberation Army is fighting back against him, why would you blow up one of their fucking boats? If he's the guy, if he's the drug dealer, unless you're actually helping him with an exit strategy and you bought him out of that position and this is all fucking wrestling, just like the stuff with Netanyahu was all year.
Well, you have to remember, Trump doesn't make any deals that don't benefit him directly first and foremost. And also, like our friend Brian Karam says, Trump has to be the hero of his own story. Every story. Doesn't matter what it is, right? So,
well, as long as it doesn't take any effort or actual thought, like where it has to be automatic. Right. That's why he wants the Nobel Peace Prize, because he doesn't recognize what it's actually for. So he just wants one so he can say he got one. He doesn't want to earn one. Right. And by the way, an earning one is a pain in the ass. And a lot of this shit about like Gaza falling apart as fast as it is, and them trying to keep this ceasefire going. He's like, they should just hand it to me right now. Well, why? Why does he wanted to hand it to him right now?
No.
Because it's not going to last. That's why.
No. And it's just so fucking frustrating the way they immediately celebrate him. First of all, what he did was sit on Joe Biden's peace deal for 10 months so they could make more money and then have a ceasefire right around the anniversary time so they look like big fucking heroes releasing the final 20 hostages. Now, I'm not saying it's not a good thing that the hostages get released. That's wonderful. They didn't do it for the right reasons.
No.
They did it for the PR of it, right? They did it to divert from the fact that they still very much want to flatten Gaza so they can start building hotels there and turn it into the Atlantic City of the Middle East. And they don't care who dies. They don't care who starves. None of it matters to them except their own pockets being lined even more. And if you have reached this point in your life and you still haven't realized that Trump doesn't do anything that doesn't benefit Trump, I don't know what to tell you anymore because he keeps showing you the proof every time he opens his fucking mouth. And so it's the same thing as the Epstein files. If you're not in them, release them. Right. You ask, why wouldn't he help the rebels who were fighting against the big cocaine leader dealer? Well, because he's benefiting. That's why. Why won't he reopen the government? Because then the Epstein files would be released. Is he in the Epstein files? Well, he must be because he won't release them. It's just ask, it's basic questions to just ask them out loud. Once you say them out loud, it's like, that's something to explore. If you're not in the Epstein files, but Bill Clinton is, show us. Show the proof. Show it. Innocent people have no problem.
Well, and
showing
then there's
up
this.
And being like, hey, not me.
And
right?
there's this.
So
I mentioned this last week, but
I want to peel the skin off of my own fucking face around this shit.
Ghislaine Maxwell is getting these private meetings in the chapel at the low security prison she's in.
And we don't know. I suppose
they're bringing her cakes with files in them, or rope. And here's your choice, right? But she's having these secret meetings, and because if you meet with your lawyer, it's your lawyer. You have to be able to meet with your lawyer, and they give you a private place to do it. You also can meet with people for religious reasons or personal reasons in the chapel if you're praying together. So they're using this as an excuse that you can go into this. The officials of the Bureau of Prisons have instituted a unique system for keeping absolutely every detail about Ghislaine Maxwell secret, a federal prison consultant revealed on the Daily Beast podcast. Maxwell was moved to a cushier jail after the order came well above our heads, which is what they said. From Todd Blanche, the notorious partner in crime of the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, was quietly transferred in August. We know this. Okay. Sam Mangle, a former inmate turned prison consultant for high-profile names like Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, explained that the Bureau of Prisons is now working overtime to keep every detail about Maxwell out of the news. Mangle's job is to work with high-profile inmates. Said he's never seen a cover-up operation like this before. When they go into a prison, anybody of that type of stature or fame, inmates tend to get very curious. They want to almost live vicariously through them. And many of the staff tend to be very deferential to them because they understand who they are and who their friends might be. In this case, Ms. Maxwell, it is completely different. They were warned. The inmates and the staff were warned prior to her coming in that under no circumstances are they to disclose anything that happens with her or to her or surrounding her during her time at Bryan.
This is so sus. Can you FOIA request the Bureau of Prisons?
Yep. That doesn't mean they have to give it to you, though. They can. There's all sorts of privacy reasons why they can. Yeah.
But in this case, someone this high profile connected directly to Trump, and they have decades of history together. I mean, if I was an investigative journalist, if I was someone who's being paid to be an investigative journalist, I would immediately FOIA request all of this. You can't FOIA request the White House, but you can FOIA request a whole lot of other people. And eventually the truth of this is going to come out. We're going to find out who she's talking to, what the deal is, what she's been offered. But all of this is so sus because if he's not involved with the Epstein files, he would let her fry. He would let her rot. He would not care. None of this, he wouldn't.
This
he
is
would
the
not
case.
Have to work.
Right. This is also a big part of this.
Angry.
Right. This is a big part of this as well. Is that the reason he's talking in this article is because he had a client who's at that facility. A lot of cush, rich people end up in those kind of prisons because it's white collar crime. Nobody died. Blah blah blah. Right. So they go do their time in one of those things, and he's a consultant for those kind of people. He had a person who he repped there. She said something to a journalist about Ghislaine Maxwell, and that night, that woman was taken to a maximum security prison. She was moved to a maximum security prison for doing that.
And I want to know. I mean,
He said they're afraid, as the staff is afraid, to do anything wrong because they know that in order for her to have gotten there, the strings at the highest possible level. Someone pulled the strings at the highest possible level.
Damn. Somebody in the chat just asked if we think Trump is visiting her.
No.
I don't know if he would visit, but maybe a phone call. We would never know if they spoke on the phone. We would never know.
No. Yeah, so, I would rule that out. I would argue. I think somebody should ask.
I wouldn't rule that out either.
Has he spoken to Ghislaine Maxwell since she was moved? Have they FaceTime together, or have they had a Zoom call?
Yeah. I mean, the problem is that the media is not asking him the right questions, and he's not going to give a real answer, even if they did. And so it's something like, I just wish I could get a press pass for one day, because just getting the questions out into the ether would be enough to embarrass him. And if he tried that shit with me like he did with the lady on Air Force One, I'd have a thing or two to say in my defense. But it's making sure, like, again, all of the everything that's a smoke screen to cover up for what he did. Like, if he was a fully innocent human being, we would have seen a full release of these files already. That's the bottom line. That is the fact. If there was something in there worse about Bill Clinton than about him, we would have seen that already. We would have seen that a long time ago. Epstein's alleged suicide happened in 2019. So if Trump wanted to release a whole bunch of shit on Bill Clinton to look like a good guy in 2020, he would have, but he didn't. And my friend Ellie Leonard, who everybody should be following on Substack, she is a professional transcriber, and she went through that whole Epstein birthday book. And I really recommend everybody read. I mean, the woman needs a retinal transplant at this point, God bless her. But she went through the whole birthday book. And there's disgusting stuff in there, right? Disgusting things. Yeah. Vile, vulgar. The way women are depicted and described is vile. Bill Clinton's letter to Jeffrey Epstein is the least egregious of all of the entries from his friends, from his family. And I don't know why some of these things were even included in a birthday book. But his was like, hey, happy 50th. And you've retained your friendship and a childlike sense of wonder of the world, whatever it was. Didn't draw boobs, didn't mention women or girls.
Didn't sign his name to look like pubic hair. It was like, I found that very surprising that both he and Woody Allen, I would have expected something almost from Woody, like body, considering the man wrote, everything you want to know about sex,
but they did have dinner together.
Well,
Jeffrey and Woody were pals.
But with his wife present. There's a whole thing in the letter about how the first time they had dinner, his wife was embarrassed that you can't have, like, nice people over with this, like, buffet bullshit. And she apparently helped him she did. Like, Sun Yi helped him make the dinners better. And that's a big chunk of the letter. It's super fucking weird.
Yeah.
Of all things.
Everything in that birthday book is weird, though, because when you think of the mentality behind someone who would bind all of that together, and a lot of it was really disgusting, but the most disgusting one being that the colored pencil drawing of the three women servicing Epstein at once, and they're all topless in a bikini, in like only bikini bottoms, and they're very young looking, and one's rubbing his shoulders and one's blowing him, and another one is just kind of massaging him. And somebody and Ghislaine Maxwell thought, this is a perfect picture to put in Jeffrey's birthday book. He's going to want to remember this forever. These are the sick fucking rapist pedophiles that we are dealing with here. And these are people who Donald Trump happily socialized with repeatedly for a very long time. And then the other thing that people forget about there's a million things that they forget about, right? Epstein is the one who found Melania. Epstein is the one who introduced Melania to Trump. Epstein got that first. He got there first. And Trump never got over it, right? Because it's one thing for them to share nameless, and to abuse and rape nameless 12-year-olds who they thought were trash. This was going to be his wife, and he knows forever. Epstein got there first, and there's that famous picture of the four of them where it's Donald and Melania and Jeffrey and Ghislaine, and Melania's body language towards Jeffrey is like, hi. That body language speaks volumes. She is pulling her body away from her husband
Right.
going towards.
Yeah.
That should tell you a lot. Because as disgusting as Melania is, and I don't give her any, she's not a victim. She's a willing participant in all of this. That body language to me transmitted more than many other things, because sometimes women will let you know when they don't like you. They have ways of letting you know. And so that's that was one thing. But everything that's included in the birthday book is a roadmap. It's a roadmap that tells you everything you need to know. But the bottom line that we keep needing to push, because again, I've had it confirmed by a sitting member of Congress, a Democratic representative, the only reason the government is shut down right now is because Trump is in the Epstein files.
That's right.
And we have to keep going back to that. Our government is shut down because Donald Trump raped little girls. And there are Russian wire transfers between Russian banks and American banks that prove that it was financed, that the whole there's an international sex trafficking ring financed by Russians, laundered through American banks, which is why my Senator Ron Wyden is investigating Bank of America and JP Morgan Chase, and the Treasury Department has its own set of Epstein files, which most Americans don't even know about, and Scott Bessent won't let Ron Wyden have full access to those Epstein files that are in Treasury that prove connections between Russian banks and American banks financing Jeffrey Epstein. And we know it touches Trump. And that's why the government is shut down. And I'm using my mommy says it's time to leave the store voice, because I'm very angry about this. And this should be the biggest part of why the government is shut down. Instead of letting Republicans dominate the conversation and making it a healthcare issue, it's this. And that is what I want everyone to be doing, besides fighting for SNAP benefits, which is also part of this.
Right. This is, by the way, this is a picture that Scott, twice convicted pedophile Scott Ritter, and this guy's, Wilson's his last name. I don't remember his first name or whatever. He blogs for the Kremlin, basically. He's a like former CIA guy who basically rolled and now lives in Moscow. And Steven Seagal.
We'll just call him Yuri. Steven Seagal's a fucking traitor. Yeah, he's a Russian citizen now, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, and again, like basically like these are like pedophiles before they go out pedoing, because that's like they're pre-funking. It's a pre-funk for the pedophiles. That's right.
It's great. Steven Seagal also. I didn't know that. I didn't know Steven went.
He's I don't know that he goes for underage women, but he does like to abuse. Girls. So which is a shame. Like that's gross. Even beyond, but it's Hayes in Russia, so it's legal.
Yay!
But the point is like that Russian industry of sex trafficking, especially minors, is not like lost on Trump or a casualty of diplomacy. It's a feature, not a bug for him.
Correct.
So
and there are more. There lately they've been really rounding up a lot of Republican pedophiles, like churchy pedophiles, people who are pillars of the community. And all of a sudden they find tons of child porn on their computers, and Republicans are left scrambling because we're like, it keeps being you guys with this pedophile stuff. And the Democrats' official Twitter account tweeted like a new logo for the GOP, and like the pedo protectors, and like they're just saying it. And like, I don't know if you saw Ruben Gallego, he was like, Republicans are protecting a pedophile. They're protecting pedophiles.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Yes, that's
what
how they
doing.
need to talk about
That's the energy.
That's
That
right.
is the energy. Do that. Lots of that. All of that. Only that is the energy. Drive that home. Your SNAP benefits are in jeopardy because Republicans are protecting a pedophile. That's pretty strong language.
Now, I got to tell you, okay, so how did we get here? And also, again, it'd be one thing if they were doing it and it wasn't like the cause célèbre of the entire maggot movement. But it was. I mean, again, the 8 to 12% like QAnon crowd, conspiracy theory overlapping crowd that took it upon themselves to dive into this in 2015 and 2016, by the way, and paint this picture of Hillary Clinton as this woman who eats baby juice and blah blah blah, but Donald Trump, friends with Jeffrey Epstein, wingman for 25 years, friends with Roy Cohn till the day he died. Somehow he gets a fucking pass, but he gets in there, and Jeffrey Epstein is arrested. The evidence in his New York apartment disappears. He dies in prison or is, replaced by a body double and rolled out there or whatever. And so it is impossible to detach MAGA from this information, because it is part of their identity. And one of the big key players in that has been Marjorie Trainwreck Green. And MTG has been on a tear lately. And it is one of the most bizarre fucking turns, and we're in the middle of it's really hard to absorb it without going, well, yeah, fucking duh. Like, this is, what the fuck have we been saying this whole time? Like, it's when they go like, I don't think he actually wants to release the Epstein files. You're like, I don't know if these tariffs, I don't know if he's thought this tariff shit through. Like, yeah,
well, it's funny that you're bringing this back. Well, first of all, she knows she's not getting her pardon at all, ever. Mm-hmm. She's never getting her pardon from him. She stood with the Epstein survivors. She's not getting a pardon from him. So she might as well talk out both sides of her mouth. The reason she's doing this is it's going to hurt her own children. She was talking about her kids. Mm-hmm. Her 3 kids went to her and said, Mom, if this happens, this will hurt us, me, your child, in these specific ways. And she was like, oh my goodness, I didn't understand that President Trump is a bad guy. And she's still not going to go all in, right? She's still going to protect herself any way that she can. So what she'll do is she'll speak in general. Like, she won't say Trump. She'll say Republicans are going to lose, not Trump will lose.
Right. Well, he can't run again, and she knows it. And the idea that he's going to be alive to run again, none of them actually believe that either.
He's not going to be alive in 28 or 32. Nice try, though.
No. Yeah. It just and it's gonna be like the lowest turnout presidential funeral in history. I'm calling it right now. But yeah, and it is the wussy way out when they keep saying when it's Biden's doing blah blah blah. When it's Obama's doing blah blah blah. When it's Trump, it's like Republicans need to stop. Right. Okay. But she goes, I can't see into the future, but I see Republicans losing the House if Americans are continuing to go paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
She said they'll definitely be going into the midterms looking through the lens of their bank account.
That is true.
Right.
I mean,
self-evidently true.
Is still right twice a day.
Right.
So
she is stuck in that broken clock.
Go back up.
Oh,
something was about how she fervently lobbied. It was right under that photo. Look at her. She's hugging.
Oh, yeah.
She's hugging.
It's fervently lobbied for greater transparency in the White House's handling of recent developments in the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking case with a Republican colleague in the House, Thomas Massie, and their counterpart across the aisle, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna, who has helped them helm a growing push to have the Justice Department release new documents on the latest pedophiles' crimes. She goes, Green has been careful to avoid criticizing Trump directly. Any president, whether it's Democrat or Republican president, they're in a cone of information, and the information is siloed, and it's coming from their advisors, right? As she put it to Semaphore.
Okay. Thank you for telling us how you also operate, but keep going.
But no, it's not siloed. They have as much information as they can handle. Now, there's an element of, does she think that there are people around him keeping the fact that he's in the Epstein files from him? We know now that he asked Pam Bondi in May, and she said yes. And they set about a bunch of people like, go in there and redact everywhere I'm in. That's when the 1,000 agents popped in and started, went in there with a fucking Sharpies and tried to change the direction of the hurricane that's coming using a Sharpie for the second time in history.
That's actually worse than releasing them unredacted. Because if you're going through them and you're blacking them out, I mean, people are going to be like, well, what's behind there? And it's probably not about Bill Clinton, because you wouldn't redact anything about Bill Clinton, would you? Mm-hmm. So, and that was another point that I've constantly made about these Epstein files, in that, aside from we always hold our own accountable, it's just like, You promised to be transparent about this, and you put out binders that were nothing but blacked out pages. Why would Pam Bondi protect Bill Clinton? That wouldn't serve her. That wouldn't serve Trump to protect. They have no interest in protecting Democrats. I think they've made that super abundantly clear. So if MAGA had any natural curiosity, they would be asking that kind of question.
Yeah, I think the biggest question is like, why is Trump hiding all the Bill Clinton stuff? Like, if that's the thing, they're just invert what they've been saying. Like, if Democrats had this stuff, they'd have released it about Trump. And like, not necessarily, because it was all frozen until January of last year, and then the campaign was going on. And the idea was, and he benefited from this in 2016 as well, which is like, where Hillary Clinton's like, we're going to win, so we don't need to release this garbage. People are going to see through this, and they took too much. They took for granted the sanity of the American voter and the genocide Joe lefties who just want to, accelerationists who want to burn everything down. Everyone keeps saying I've changed, and I'm saying no, I haven't changed. I'm staying focused on America first, and I'm urging my party to get back to America first.
And they never were. That's fine. But that's also Nazi shit, so
she said, I don't know if the Republican Party is leaving me or if I'm kind of not relating to the Republican Party as much anymore. Well,
because she's not. That's not she doesn't represent the Republican Party. She represents what was the Tea Party that has become MAGA.
Right.
So that's what she represents. What she's doing is basically
she's calling Trump a rhino in the most cowardly way possible.
And not even directly, right? And she's also she's a millionaire. She never paid back her PPP loan that she got from the Biden administration.
Yeah.
She's had multiple affairs. She doesn't really care about saving children. She cares about covering her own ass like most Republicans, and we understand that. In this particular situation, that will help her look like a hero because it's only impacting her own children. So that maybe made her go, well, if it's going to hurt my children, it's going to hurt other people's children. And she's an advocate for children. Like, whatever. Her own PR covering her own ass while she also tries to, because she still has to think about her own political future and what she's going to do next.
If one exists at all,
At least something inside of her somewhere understands that there is a post-Trump Republican Party that is going to have to figure their shit out.
Yes, that was what Steve Bannon was talking about like 2 weeks ago when he said this is, they're viewing him as a storm that will pass. And that's true. I'm going to end. We got 2 minutes left.
Let's go.
I want to end on this a little bit. This is an Australian reporter in talking about like how Trump turned on that reporter in, on Air Force One and stuff.
Right.
She's asking him about Ukraine.
Okay.
See if this plays correctly. Play, you silly thing. Oh, come on. Dum, 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 dum.
Dun, dun,
Don't make me reload you. I'll reload it. There you go.
Okay.
See if it plays. I don't know. But
while we're waiting,
she says, you are the most powerful man on earth. Why don't you just enable Ukraine to finish this war tomorrow? And he says, well, if you know anything about what you were talking about, and she goes, I do. And he says, I don't think you do really. Because he
can't answer the question.
Right. Because he doesn't dare is really what it is. Okay, so hold on.
Why don't you release the Epstein files if you're an innocent man? Why doesn't anyone ask him that question?
Right. Well, that's the issue with him, isn't it?
You can't ask. It doesn't matter what question you ask him. He doesn't like it. And I don't know why he takes questions.
Right.
Because it doesn't make him look good.
Because she's extractive. He goes, it sounds easy. We're in the process of making a deal. If we make a deal, that's great. If we don't make a deal, it will be a lot of people that are going to be paying a big price. And he spoke to Putin, and
Which
that's
we'll
why.
never know about that conversation with Putin. We'll never know what they talked about. Like we never got the notes from the translator.
Yeah.
It just, all of it is,
he's trying to
believe anything.
He thinks his midway of making the deal is, and you can see the look on Trump's face, is halfway between like I'm
a little baby fish.
And nap time. Like he I mean, this is like he's on a hard fade. And He's been on one for a while, but it's just accelerating. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I was listening to you when I was getting ready and you were talking about Joe Biden and the way the media,
Daddy's here. I love Dad. I love it when Daddy's here and he's going to take care of me.
I mean, again, I'm not someone who always leans into, false equivalence or whatever, but if Joe Biden ever put out an AI video of him dumping shit on MAGA,
right.
Like we would never hear the end of it. We would never hear the end of it.
Oh yeah.
Ever. And
they still haven't gotten over part of them being called the basket of deplorables. They're still wincing from it.
And so this and their reaction to No Kings is a very similar reaction to the basket of deplorables, where it was we're gonna try to like embrace this and try to make it ours, and so we're gonna release memes of Trump dressed like a king because now we want a king because you're saying no kings when we want a king. It's like you're so bad at this. Like when we did the Dark Brandon, that was a smart appropriation of what you did. We took the dumb shit that you did, and then we made it smart, and we ruined it for you, so you can't do it anymore. They're so bad at it that they can't do it. They're still not going to take no kings from us. They're not going to be able to change that. They're not going to alter the meaning of it. It just goes to show they don't do anything right. And so as we're wrapping, I'm going to ask everybody in the chat, please do something this week to help your fellow citizens hold on to their SNAP benefits. We don't want anyone to starve to death. We're supposed to be taking care of each other in this country, and the Republicans are all supposed to be providing for promoting the general welfare, and they're not doing that. So, and I'm also changing a little bit my approach. I'm just kind of even as angry as we can be. It's just he tried to kill another vice president and failed.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't be his vice president. Also, J.D. Vance wanted the Epstein client list released. He told Theo Vaughn on Theo's podcast, and now I have the clip. It's just a mere 7 seconds, and Theo goes, "Release the list," and then Vance starts, and Vladimir Futon. We have to make that stick to him. Yeah. Vladimir Futon, J.D. Vance is laughing. He's like, "Yeah, no, man, we got to get that list released." Okay, release it. Charlie Kirk wanted the Epstein files released. Why aren't you releasing them for Charlie Kirk? Pointing out the hypocrisy, but doing it with a smile.
Yeah.
That's my new approach.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on. We'll see you later.
Everybody buy my book, The Sound of Settling, at TaraDublinRocks.com, and follow me across all the socials at Tara Dublin Rocks, Tara Dublin Rocks on Instagram. And please, please, please sign up for my YouTube, because I can't do monetization of YouTube until I have 3,000 subscribers, and I'm only like halfway there. So, and The Sound of Settling at TaraDublinRocks.com, and I will see you guys next Monday.
Excellent.
Be good to each other.
All right.
Take care of each other. Bye.
See you later. And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind, let's ditch out before I say a proper goodbye. I'm going to pop off for about an hour and a half. 1 o'clock. So I'll actually come back on 1 o'clock my time, because Summer has tickets for the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere for her work. And so I got to put on my scarecrow outfit. I'm kidding. I've been booked. We're going together. So, and like to get there, we have to leave at 3:30, which will not allow me to do my show at the normal time. So we'll do it a little earlier. So, and I'll see if I can have it replay for those that are used to watching it at that time. Apologies for the shift, and I will see you guys in a little while. All right, there we go. Thank you guys so much. Hit that subscribe.